with another video, and today I'm going to show you how to make another arm knit blanket. I brought you the 1 hour arm knit blanket in the past, and this one is probably going to be even faster than that. We're going to use the same yarn that we used for the 15-minute scarf. So it's the really big yarn, so it shouldn't take any more than, I want to say 30 to 40 minutes. I haven't made one yet. This is going to be my first time making one using this yarn. So I'll try to time it while I'm making mine, and I'll put it in the title of this video. But I'm guessing around 30 to 40 minutes. So let's just get right into it. I'm not going to talk too much in this video. I'm just going to show you how to make the blanket. Here are some pictures of the finished product. I have all of my yarn next to me here ready to go, and here is the yarn wrapper. It's Premier Yarns Couture Jazz, and I got mine in the color beige, and it's a number 6 super bulky yarn. Like I said earlier, it's the same yarn that I used for the 15-minute scarf. Each ball comes with 16.5 yards, and I have a total of 12 balls here with me today. So I'm not sure if I'll use it all, but we'll see towards the end of the blanket if we're going to use all the yarn. So to begin your blanket, we're going to use the Longtail cast on, and Longtail cast on is where you pull a long tail from the ball of yarn, and I'm going to say we'll need about 5 feet or so. So pull a long tail of 5 feet from your ball of yarn, and then the first thing you want to do after you pull your tail is make a slip knot. And the slip knot will count as your first stitch on your arm. Hold the yarn over your hand. You're going to pinch these two pieces of yarn together. You're going to spin, and you're going to grab the working yarn and pull it through just like that. And then just pull on it to tighten it up. And then go ahead and slide it right onto your arm there. I'm starting mine on my right arm. So tighten that up as much as you can. And then we're going to make our second stitch by casting on. First stitch. And this is the tricky part. I get a lot of questions about casting on. A lot of people have trouble with it, so I'm going to do my best to explain it. You're going to take the tail. This is our tail here, and this is our working yarn. So you want to take the tail, put it in between your pointer finger and your middle finger, just like that. And then you're going to hold it here with your ring finger and your pinky. And sorry, that was the dog. So just like that. And then you're going to take the working yarn, and you're also going to hold it in between your ring finger and your pinky to hold it tight. And then you're going to take your thumb, put it in between these two strands here, and wrap the working yarn around your thumb. Okay, so I'll show you that again. Your thumb goes in between these two pieces and wrap the working yarn around your thumb just like that. So hopefully that makes sense. Try it a few times and you should be able to get it. And now you're going to take your right hand. You're going to go under this strand, over this one, and then back under it. So let me show you. You're going to go under this one, over that one there. So you go under there and through, over the back one, and then under it and through that loop. And I will show you that again. Okay, so now we have the 2 stitches on our right arm. So let's make the third one. So again, you want to take that tail and put it in between your pointer and middle finger. Hold it with your ring finger and your pinky. And then you want to take the working yarn, do the same thing, hold it with your ring finger and your pinky. Put your thumb in between the two, and then wrap the working yarn around your thumb just like that. Okay, and Then hopefully you can see this. We're going to take our hand and put it under this one, over the one in the back, so over that one, and then through just like that. Okay? So there's 3 stitches. To be as tight as they possibly can on your arm while still being able to move them up. The tighter your stitch, the smaller the holes in the blanket are going to be. If you have this on your arm really loose, your blanket is going to have really big holes. So try to make it as tight as you can, which is going to be tough because we're going to have a lot of stitches. But let's see how we can do this. So let's continue casting on. 4, 5. Okay, so I have a total of 18 stitches here on my arm, and hopefully that's going to be wide enough for the blanket. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start with the knitting process, the arm knitting process. So you have your 18 stitches. We're going to no longer be working with the tail, so you can just keep that out of the way. And now we're just going to be working with the working yarn. So to start knitting, you're going to hold the working yarn in your right hand. You're going to find the first stitch, pull it off of your hand. It's going to be kind of snug, but pull it off of your hand. And while still holding on to that working yarn, pull that over the working yarn. And now you have this loop here. So you're going to turn that towards yourself and put it onto your left arm, just like that. And to tighten the first stitch, you want to hold on to the working yarn while pushing this up. And then just keep pushing that up, just like that until it's snug. And again, so now you have your first stitch on your left arm, and you have 17 stitches on your right arm. So you're going to hold on to that working yarn in your right hand again. You're going to take that next stitch, pull it over and off of your hand, and now you have that loop again from the working yarn. Turn that towards yourself and put it onto your left hand. You're going to tighten it up as much as you can. Don't make it too tight because we're going to be moving these up our arm. And now you have 2 on your left hand and 16 on your right. And you're just going to keep doing that. You're going to move all the stitches over onto your left arm. So hold the working yarn in your right hand, pull that next stitch over your hand and over that working yarn. You have this loop, so turn it towards yourself and put your left hand through just like that. Tighten it up and do the next stitch. Just like that. Keep moving this up your arm as much as you can. And it's really, really simple and really fast once you get the hang of it. As long as you understand the whole concept of it, then you'll get it pretty quickly. And keep moving that up your arm. Okay. So this is what our first row looks like. And I'm going to go ahead and tie on my second ball of yarn. I still have all this yarn left, but I don't want to run out while I'm in the middle of a row. So I'm going to pull the strand from my next ball of yarn. And I always pull it from the center of the ball. And all you have to do to tie on this new ball of yarn is basically just tie a knot. So you're going to take the 2 ends one from your first ball of yarn and the one from your second, and tie just a simple knot. And sorry, that was my other dog. And then I just pull it really tight that way and really tight that way. That way I know it's never going to come undone. You can always take a little bit of fabric glue and put it in there as well, but I'm not going to worry about that. Okay, so now we're going to take all of the stitches and move them from our left arm back to our right arm. So it's going to be all the same things, we're just kind of doing in the opposite direction. So we're going to hold the working yarn in our left hand this time, and you're going to take that first stitch and pull it over just like that so you have that loop, and you're going to turn it towards yourself and put it onto your right arm, and then you're going to pull that and push that knot up as tight as you can. Okay, and then again hold the working yarn in your left hand, pull that next stitch over, turn this working yarn towards yourself and put it onto your right arm. Tighten it up and move it up your arm as much as you can. And the next stitch, pull it over just like that and slip it onto your right arm. And again. And try to move it up as much as you can. Tighten it up. Okay, and it's all kind of bunched up on our arm right now, but this is what it looks like so far. Doesn't really look like much, but once we keep going, it'll start to look more like a blanket. Okay, so we have 5 rows now, and as you go along, go ahead and just kind of tug on the blanket a little bit, stretch it out, because it will get kind of bunched up. So I'm going to go ahead and keep arm knitting. I know this looks kind of like it's going to be a skinny blanket, but once you take it off of your arms and spread it out, it should be wide enough. So I'm going to go ahead and continue arm knitting, and I will show you how to bind off at the end of the blanket and how many rows I did all together. So let's move on to our 6th row. 10 here, and I just wanted to show you what it looks like so far. I don't know if you can see that, but that is what it looks like. And I'll go ahead and finish up this row. And don't forget to try to tighten the stitches as much as you can throughout the blanket. The tighter your stitch, the smaller the holes are going to be in the blanket. So really you want them as tight as you can while still being able to move them around on your arm. So this is 10. Alright guys, so now we have 15 rows. Okay, so this is what we have so far. And I'm going to go ahead and continue arm knitting and move on to my 16th row. I just finished row 18, and this is what we have. So it's getting pretty long. And I'm pretty cozy here because it's covering my lap. It's long enough to cover my lap now. So that was row 18, and at this point I have 6 balls of yarn left. So I'm just going to keep going until I use up all of my yarn, and I'll let you know how many rows that is at the end. I just finished row 28, and it's getting quite heavy on my arm, but it's very long. And I'm going to keep going. I have 3 balls of yarn left. I don't think I'm going to use them all because it is quite long, but it would be nice to be able to pull the blanket all the way up to my neck when I use it. That way it's a full length, you know, the length of my body. Right now it goes from my feet, let's stand up, goes from my feet up to my chest. So I'm going to go ahead and do another ball of yarn and see how far or how long that makes it. So I'm going to keep arm knitting. I'll try to do 31 rows total to see how long that makes it. I just finished 31 rows, so let's stand up and see how tall or long this is. So, and this is the inside of the blanket. This isn't what it actually looks like. That's what it actually looks like. So, here it is on my arm, and I have it resting on the floor, the bottom, and it's at my feet. And the top of the blanket is all the way to my chin. So I think I'm going to do one more row, and then I will show you how to bind off. So I'm going to go ahead and do my 30-second row. I just finished my 30-second row of arm knitting, and I'm going to go ahead and tie on my 11th ball of yarn. So we're going to go ahead and make a knot, super tight, and now we're going to go ahead and bind off our blanket. Now it's really important that when you bind off that you're not doing it too tight. If you bind off too tight, you're going to have a really skinny end on your blanket and it's just going to look uneven. I get a lot of questions about that when people do scarves. They have one skinny end and one wide end, and that's basically because you did the bind off too tight on your wrist. So to bind off, you're going to knit 2 stitches. So knit 1 stitch onto your right arm, okay, and knit a 2nd stitch onto your right arm, and then you're going to pull that first stitch over the second one and off of your hand. And then just tighten it a little bit, not too much, because you don't want it too tight. Okay, we're going to do that again. We're going to knit 1 stitch this time. Move it over to your right arm. And pull that first one over the second one and off. Tighten it up just a little bit. Do that again. Tighten it just a little bit. And we're going to do that all the way till the end of our blanket. She found the yarn wrapper. And that was her yawning. Okay, so we just finished binding off our blanket. So it ended the blanket like that. And you have this one last stitch on your arm. So what I like to do, and there's Remy. Let's see what she's gonna do. Alright, so now we have this last stitch on our arm. So what I like to do with this one is grab onto that working yarn and pull it through, make another loop. Just like that. And then you're going to cut this. So you pulled that through, and now we're going to cut the working yarn. Okay, and then you're going to pull it all the way through and tighten it. Tighten it up as much as you can. Okay, and now I'm going to show you how to weave in the ends of your blanket. That way, if the knot ever comes undone, which I doubt it will, this will keep it together longer. So basically I'm just taking that tail and weaving it through the end of the blanket, just kind of going back and forth. You can skip this step if you really, don't want to do it. Okay, and then tug on it a little bit. Oops. And then I'm going to go back through one more time. Just kind of sticking it through a loop, any loop that you can find, without making it too obvious. And that should be good. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that. And you're going to do the same thing to the other end of your blanket. Just like this. And tug on it. And then I'm going to go back the other way a little bit. And tug on it and cut it. Okay, and then the last step that you want to do is cut all those knots that we had to make. That this is as tight as it can be. And we're just going to cut these not too close, but close enough to the knot to make it look better, so that you can kind of hide those. Okay? Finish all those knots and then you'll be all done with your blanket. My blanket is all done and I'm really excited to use it later tonight. It's really cozy and soft, and the final measurement is 5 feet by 3 feet approximately. I did a total of 32 rows and I used a total of 11 balls of the Couture Jazz yarn. If you guys have any questions, please leave them below, and I'll put all the links in the description box to the yarn so you can purchase it online if you'd like. I got some of mine from AC Moore and I had to order the rest from Walmart.com, but I will put the links down below if you want to order it online from Amazon, because you can order it from there as well. I hope you guys like this new pattern, and be sure to subscribe if you want to see more patterns like this. And if you have any requests or suggestions for new arm knitting patterns, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And I think that's it, guys. I will see you in my next video. Bye. You want to hang the yarn over your hand like that. Pinch these two pieces of yarn together, and then you're going to twist it, and you're going to grab your tail of yarn. Well, that didn't work. And there's Remy barking. So, I'll put all the links to the yarn, and any other things